Unpopular truths about being in a calorie deficit. Number one, and trust me, this sucks, you will be hungry. I have to clarify, hungry does not equal starving.
This is a great video. Love everything about Jordan's content. Tag him below so you all watch the rest of it. Don't want to come off as a well actually guy, but I have to push back a little bit on the hunger thing because of nocebo. The idea that if I tell you you're likely to feel a side effect, you're more likely to feel it. This is a bit more extreme than a headache from a medication or diarrhea from Chipotle. Because no matter how much any of us eat, we all experience hunger every single day, usually a few times a day. Of course, you're going to notice your hunger more if I tell you you're going to notice it, especially when attempting challenging new habits. Yet I'd argue most people could actually be less hungry than they were before while being in a deficit. Key being less than they were before. This Skittle represents 1 calorie. Legos represent nutrients, fiber, vitamins, water, everything in food that is not a calorie. Jordan does mention nutrient density, protein, and fiber, which are all huge. But I think a lot of people hear nutrient density and assume that means if something just has a lot of nutrients, that makes it nutrient dense. No, it's nutrients relative to calories per bite. So avocados or nuts have tons of nutrients, but are also calorie dense. That doesn't mean they're bad, they're just not as nutrient dense as you might think. Rice cakes, however, have basically nothing, but a lot of volume and low calorie, so are more like this. These Legos are all things you have to chew through, swallow, and digest. So you can see how the more of them there are relative to the Skittles, you'd be chewing a lot more, getting more stomach and gut distension, slower digestion, and slower eating overall. All things that improve satiety without increasing calorie intake. But while calories are one variable for hunger, I can be in a surplus and still be hungry if my diet is mostly calorie-dense foods over here. This is actually very common. And I can start a calorie deficit and be less hungry than I was before if my diet looks mostly like this. Unless we're already eating 100% of our foods from over here, which who the fuck does that? Think about somebody who eats perfectly at maintenance but doesn't work out. They start doing moderate amounts of exercise, eat the same amount of food, and now are in a calorie deficit. Exercise can be an appetite suppressant, so not only are they in a deficit, but they might also be less hungry than before, like in this study. The other way, if our body's barometer for calorie intake were super precise, you'd expect us to be the right level of full at maintenance or in a surplus. But if that were the case, there probably wouldn't be an obesity epidemic. Hunger is a short-term sensation. A deficit or a surplus is a long-term protocol. Calories are just one variable and arguably the last variable you'll notice, given it takes hours for our body to realize the calories in a meal, but only minutes to realize how many times we've chewed, how much our stomach and gut have distended, or how leptin and ghrelin respond to complex carbs, fiber, or protein. The main reason why higher intakes of fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins help a lot. They aren't magic, there's just a lot of shit to bite before you get to these. A lot of ways you can manipulate variables to make it work better for you. If you want to see more, follow me and check out this recent post. But whether or not you're hungrier in a deficit than you were before comes down to more than just calories, but the delta in our diet composition and exercise.